She says, you're speaking at TED? You're giving a TED Talk? Oh my God, I can't wait to tell all my friends that my mom's giving a TED Talk. Oh my God, do you know how important this really is, Mom? And I was like, now I do. I believe, like my bullet-ridden brother out there somewhere right now, gurgling blood through his last breath, spitting out a red ripe prayer, smooth, so sweet, so baby fresh.
Now, newspapers and books printed in text and hard paper may have a limited shelf life. But words blinking on screens, uttered by voices, words seeping into minds, that's ascending. Nowadays, people just don't want or expect to merely consume and enjoy stories. They want to write their own. They want to share them with others. They expect to share them with others.
The average heart surgeon might do 300 hearts a year. Dr. Devasetti's team performs 30 open heart surgeries a day.
I followed a group of health workers who are working in the brothels of India. And a large portion of the sex workers at that time were infected. And so I asked these women, I said, why do you bring children into this world? Why do you have children? And their response was, because it is the only normal thing that we can do.
Sioux Indians from the central Brazil region who lived in jungles of central Brazil. And this particular culture is peculiar because they're so dominated by their preference for sound that they consider visual people to be possessed. While we, when we have that aha moment, might say, oh, I see, believe it or not, Sioux Indian would say, it's in my ear.
See, we live in a culture today that doesn't ask about the essence of pig. They simply ask, how can we grow it fatter, faster, bigger, cheaper? And so we have this very mechanistic, in our Greco-Roman, Western, reductionist, linear, fragmented, compartmentalized, disconnected, democratized, individualized, parts-oriented thought process. We never think about the whole. And I would suggest that a culture that views its animals and plants from that type of manipulative, arrogant, disrespectful attitude will also soon view its citizens the same way.
It's unrealistic to have an expectation that a teacher is going to be able to deliver his or her lesson plan to a kid that is hungry or jacked up on sugar.
We're making some history right here. This is going to be a model to feed their kids local, fresh food.
The single most powerful tool there is to change the way a kid looks at food is to give them a seed and let them put that seed in the ground, and you watch that seed grow into something, tomato. And that kid plucks a cherry tomato from the vine that's still warm from the summer sun, and they plop that in their mouth, and the flavor explosion happens. That's a moment that forever changes the way they look at food.
I just want to point out the whistle that I'm wearing, because it's a falling whistle. And it's a symbol of a story of children who are abducted in Congo and sent to the front lines of a war, armed with only a whistle as a diversion tactic, so that when they blow these whistles, the first bullets fired claim these children. At some point, if we decide to look back, we are going to have to acknowledge that the history we lived and were a part of allowed genocide. And all I know is that I'm not okay with that, because there are solutions to stopping and preventing genocide.
Now, I don't know much about Marvin 92 because he's not as interested in metadata as I am in Doug Emery. But these are some of his friends. My mission is to bring art and people together for enjoyment, discovery, and learning. And at this point, I think I've done it. Thank you very much.
Dear, I never told you this, but before I met you, I was in love with that man. And the laureate's irritated, he loses his temper, says, well, it's a good thing you didn't. You'd be stuck here in the desert, and after all, I won the Nobel Prize. And she glares at him and says, no, you don't understand. If I married him, he would have won the Nobel Prize.
to the words he gave. Read my lips, it's a new day running. And it ain't coming cause it's here for the taking. This has been years in the making. I spent years in a station waiting to make this entrance. I'm here to free the world, young star. What's your intention? This is warfare, youngin'. The lightning is flashing now. Tune in and let's see what's happening now. One way or another, it's going down. Thank you, TEDx.